2024. But now that we're in final season, Avery, things are a little bit different, and already the leading teams are already kind of suffering. 0-2 for both of these teams to start off this big finals. I mean, this is a rough day one for them.
Rough day one so far. Going to be rougher for one of these, and you do not want to be the team that goes down 0-4. I guess if you split the series, you share the misery in some ways, but...
yeah, I mean, neither one of these teams is going to be happy with a 1-3 at the end of the day, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not what either team is looking to do here, no matter what. So you got to pull out some wins, start to find some momentum, find the heroes that are working for you. And already we see Gaimin, they're, to me, experimenting a little bit, at least. Like, this Invoker is not a hero we've seen them play a lot. It's a hero that might come more into the meta, but has been a mixed hero for them over the years. See if Quinn can make something work for it, as Snaking is going to give away first blood here at the wrong place, at the wrong time, and hey, give it to the Invoker. The exact hero you'd want getting that first blood here. Extra stats for the universal right clicker. The biggest thing about this hero compared to previous versions of Invoker for me are just how much this lifesteal does in certain situations. It's a surprising amount of EHP on the hero. And you don't want to underestimate it when you get into these early game skirmish fights where he just ends up right-clicking you down and he's healing for 40, 50 a pop. It can be pretty nasty.
Yeah. It definitely feels like, I mean, as you said, Gaimin Gladiators are experimenting a little bit. It also makes me wonder, especially with the talk, the panel really honed in on this. I think it was a great point about how much it felt like Gaimin Gladiators, it felt like they need a win here. After going 0-2 against Heroic and being a bit tilted, now they're matched up against the, supposed best team in the world right now in Team Falcons. They're throwing their Venomancer core into the mix with this Invoker as well. I mean, this definitely feels like a very prepared strategy, something that they think is broken, and they're pulling it now when they need it, when they really need a win, when they would love to be able to get at least one win against, again, possibly the best team in the world, question mark, after they lost 0-2 against Team Spirit, but maybe the second best team in the world, and when they're down 0-2, which just makes me wonder if they lose this game, how much in the hole are they going to be?
Veno is definitely a cheese hero. I mean, this hero's had multiple iterations of cheese. This is definitely the newest one. And they're getting a pretty successful version of it here with the wave cutting. I mean, this is perfect CS for Ace so far, exactly what you want. Very little regen harassment. You just want to get early stats up, early boots, get the kill threat online, can even potentially free up the Monkey King to roam mid here. This is the real threat with this strategy. You gave first blood to Invoker, you giving perfect CS to Ace in the first 2 or 3 minutes here. Arcane Boot's already done. The Monkey can start to look mid between that levels 3 to 5, especially if you can chip the mid Tiny down with the range versus melee matchup. And you do not want to be giving up extra kills here if you are Snaking. This is a lot of bonus XP. They can finish him off.
Yeah, they just need a little bit more damage. They're not quite going to be able to get it. Tofu is able to jump away to the trees before he's tagged. Might need damage there. Still gonna spot Snaking. I mean, this really goes to show, I feel like the Shadow Demon has traditionally been one of the best heroes at dealing with creep cutting like this, right? You disrupt the hero, the creep wave walks on by, they lose the aggro. But this is definitely proving that you're able to do something like this. I was so convinced that this Venomancer ward deal, that there was something that was going to be broken about it, something about cutting waves and pulling to other neutral camps and just getting extra farm at it, had to be viable in some ways. And we'll see whether or not Gaimin Gladiators can actually prove that it works past just, a little bit of cheese in the laning phase. As that'll be the real test here, as they're going to go in on Tofu, see if they can get this early kill. Not first blood, of course, because Gaimin Gladiators already set up for that early on. But they do manage to get not just the kill, but also some good damage onto the Venom.
So far, Gaimin should be happy with this lane set. I mean, they got first blood mid, they're winning the Veno lane by the cut. The CK is mostly farming, and that's probably gonna be the hardest lane here because it is a Razor, and I don't think I've ever seen ATF lose lane with this hero. It just does not happen. So if you can go even here, you're probably gonna be happy with that outcome. And again, this is a lineup from Gaimin where it's their MO. They wanna come out ahead on lanes, they wanna get the ball going, get the auras up between the Veno and the Chen, and just rush the objectives down, get early Roshan. You're probably looking at a pre-20-minute Roshan if you can really get it going, and then just barrel down these towers. abuse the fact that, yeah, Falcons have some anti-AoE in the lineup, but a lot of it comes on later. Depends on when that blink comes out from the Shaker, how high level he is, how many levels the Gyrocopter has, or how early he is willing to fight in this type of game. That can be slow. And the Shaker's entrance into the fight, which is a big deal for Falcons going into those later team fights, not guaranteed when you're up against the Venomancer wards, which can still get thrown on the ground, a Monkey who can scout you, Chen creeps that can scout you, Phantasm illusions, which can be on you. Yeah. There's a lot that Gaimin can throw into that front line to disrupt what Falcons want to do here.
Speaking of that Earthshaker, they're going to go on him now with the extra Golem stuns. That's very easy. Gaimin Gladiators. I mean, this felt like from the draft get-go, when they saw Tiny and they drafted Veno and Chen, it felt like such a Gaimin Gladiator strategy. Even though this is stuff that they're experimenting with, that we haven't seen that much from them, right? I just felt like theme-wise, it just fits, right? Dominate the laning phase as much as possible. There's some early like push elements to their draft of like they're just gonna blitz you and try and take early towers. And at least when it comes to the laning phase, they have started that strategy successfully. They're up by a little 1K here. But it's just kind of like the ball that Gaimin Gladiators was most successful with in 2023 was being able to win lanes, push down your early towers, and you're under threat of losing the game by 20 minutes.
That's their goal here. And if they can get all that done, they're going to be really happy with it for sure.
But is it a viable strategy in 2024? I mean, there's a reason that Gaimin Gladiators has not been nearly as successly as they were last year.
It's definitely not. I don't want to say it's not as viable because I think it is. I think the difficulty has gone up. It just feels harder to close out those games now. I mean, we saw earlier the comeback from Spirit. Feels like these games are centered more around the team fights than just pushing lanes down. Even if you get that one lane of racks, it's not an end-all be-all. I feel like the average game length has gone up as well, especially in these pro brackets where teams are pretty good at splitting the sides of the map and getting the recovery farm.
Yes.
You're not guaranteed to close out the map anymore. So I feel like if you take a position ahead, it's harder to benefit from it, which I think is what's hurt Gaimin the most. So they are getting a lot out of this early game in terms of support rotations. The Chen's in a very solid position out of the laning phase, which means Celery's going to be able to farm up here.
Yep.
And again, you can leave this Veno alone. This is the upside of the early creep cutting.
Yeah.
Ace is entirely independent here. He's going to defend the Wisdom Rune, or at least he will try to defend the Wisdom Rune.
Yeah, he doesn't know that Crit is going to be sneaking up the side here. So Snaking
what is
trying to work his way through a ward that's
block?
body blocking him out right now. Looks like Crit's not going to go for it, but on the other side, that's because they're trying to defend on their own Wisdom Rune, and they will be able to secure it. Another bit of Gaimin Gladiators flavor, though, right? Double support rotations, leaving Ace alone. Double support rotations into the mid lane to secure the power rune for Quinn. Got to do that for him always. And then from there, they're able to move into Duracio's lane. I feel like this is just classic Gaimin Gladiators. Now Quinn's going to try and get active, going into the Ace lane to set up a kill on Snaking. He gets his mana burned out, so he can't even delay the death by 2 seconds with a self-disruption. He'll just die flat out.
Man, Quinn is having a very fast game here. Like, he is the most farmed hero by a decent margin, and this is a hero that can rotate around the map, replenish resources with Ghost Walk, and just do whatever he wants. And you always have that Monkey with the Simian Stride who can connect very fast. Burn charges are already up. Vessel flying out, in fact. We'd love to have that delivered right here. Maybe just make it go on that Gyro, who's the biggest prize on the map right now for Falcons.
Yeah.
He'll take an Observer for the troubles.
Sure.
And again, levels are still looking good for this Monkey. I think that's the biggest thing about this hero is when you push the Monkey King to support,
wrap around
to make sure you
behind.
find levels.
Celery tried to leave him alone in the top lane. Chen just kind of doing greedy Chen things where you're trying to both take some farm out of the jungle, take some out of the lane, but Falcons, they're not going to let you get away with that kind of greed. If you're going to go for that, their safe lane tower, they will make sure there is going to be a trade-off and a punish if there are any heroes around.
Quinn looking for the support defending mid. So there is a Shaker.
He's going to creep right on top of him here with the Urn Cold Snap. It's a guaranteed kill. Some charges back into Quinn's pocket and some big pressure on mid tower. So Gaimin Gladiators getting the better of this exchange, not just like support pick off on both sides, but more so the fact that they're taking 2 towers at once, owning 2 lanes at once, while Falcons are mostly just taking that one plus some neutral.
This is going to be a problem for them on the map until they have these Blink Daggers up, and even then, This Veno is really obnoxious for the cores on the side of Falcons, even the Earthshaker. You have Shadow Demon to give you a cleanse later and to reflect some of that poison damage, but that's about it. The rest of your interactions are not great, and Gaimin know it, so while Ace is taking over bottom, they're continuing to up the pressure on mid. As Crit just he has no gameplay right here.
Nope.
No kills on the lane with the Razor. I mean, his XP was a bit stunted, and now he's just going to be forced into these types of skirmishes where this is the downside of Shaker in these types of games. You're outranged, you're outgunned.
And your jungle is being completely owned, whether it's through Gaimin Gladiators playing aggressively or Falcons cannibalizing their own jungle right now. There's nothing left for the Shaker. So he kind of has to play a lane somewhere and is just food for this Invoker. As a result, Tofu gets a really nice ward here next to the tier 2 tower to spot one of the common farming spots for many carry.
Even Malrine is having trouble pushing out these lanes or finding the farm on this Tiny. Not a lot of space to operate with, and the 2 deep dire obs here are going to scout a lot if they don't get dewarded. So as long as Gaimin can maintain their position in this jungle, they're going to take away a lot of economy right now. Aggressive dive, but haste root on the Invoker.
Disruption. Gaimin Gladiators doing a really good job spacing this out initially, not overcommitting, but they won't be able to get the kill.
I mean, they're still happy with this. Force everybody down here. Nobody on Falcons wants to be on this part of the map, especially if Skeeter's there. You're just taking farm away from the gyro, so only Amar really getting something out of this upper half right now. Supports continue to suffer.
He's already making a move to the other side of the map, knowing, I guess, that Amar is up here. They just saw 4 heroes, and he's hunting for the one, and he will be able to catch him. He's going to slow him down enough that Duracchio's going to catch up to hit the Reality Rift, pull him back into his doom. I mean, that's just a great read of the situation, great read of the map, maybe a great read of just Amar and his playstyle.
I love to see these tier 2 dives where you don't commit, because almost every pro team in the world is going to react to that type of situation. Hey, they're diving our carry under a tier 2. Let's take the fight. It's a good one. If you get out with everybody, you already won that fight. You don't have to commit and dive and maybe lose a couple of heroes. If you look for that next play really fast, you often get rewarded a lot, not only on the kill, but on the lane that gets shoved in top that no one is now farming for Falcons. ATF taken off the map. No one wants to go up there because they all TP'd bottom. That's 2 or 3 waves that you're missing out on. We already see this lead grow to 5K now as the cores taking a commanding lead. So Invoker and Veno are still causing problems. You just don't have the catch for them.
Oh, they need this smoke to work, and they are going to be able to get it. They had the Sentry in place to be able to spot Quinn, so they get the toss over to get the Suns on him, but the fight still may not be good. Quinn is so tanky, and Ace is getting some serious damage out on the Skeeter. The damage is going to spread to the Shadow Demon, which Duracchio easily cleans up. Yeah, they got their mark in Quinn, but is it worth it if you're going to trade out 4 potentially? Malrine's going to be slowed down to a point. I don't think he's escaping out of this, and you can see that Chen is still chasing after the extra kill as well. Malrine. What? What was that? Kill steal. Unbelievable. The neutral creep just jacks the big kill away from Gaimin Gladiators. They will get that 4th death, though, out of Falcons. They don't get 4 kills, but they do get 4 deaths.
I mean, Gaimin's still very happy with this situation, as they got to be thinking about Roche in the next 5 minutes, and they're well set up for it. The biggest story here outside of that Centaur KS is, again, I was talking about, you can't underestimate how tanky this Invoker is in the early fights. With the Vessel build-up, he has a lot of base HP. You get a couple hits in with this cross lifesteal, and it just takes forever. Double toss to bring him down is a nightmare for Malrine. He's committed so deep in the fight, and yeah, the Centaur Warrunner, he bails you out a little bit here, but nothing really to smile about here if you're Falcons. That's just a lost team fight. And that was a team fight. You got the catch on the Invoker with the detection, with the toss in on the Tiny, with the Earthshaker. That's a difficult find.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a dream setup. Again, the Monkey King able to be in a position to capitalize off of both the Invoker and the Venomancer, and the kind of poke that they're able to constantly do, right? Like, how many times they're just going to be able to drop an ultimate and they know that, you know, they can't TP you away because the Monkey King 4 is somewhere in the trees ready to stun you. Now he's set up on Malrine, and Malrine is not getting away from this gank train. pushed back in deeper with the Hurricane by Celery to keep him inside the Wukong's command. Not that it's needed, but it's nice little style points for Gaimin Gladiators.
Pull him into the double Centaur Stomp as well.
Yeah.
It's a death sentence for everybody, and I mean, where is this Shaker Blink? That feels like the one saving grace. I mean, it's going to be a Shard build from Crit. This Blink is nowhere near coming.
Yeah.
It's going to have to go the poor man's Blink and hope it's enough. It feels like Skeeter is going to have to draw this game back for Falcons. If there's a comeback point, it's got to be this Gyro.
And Amar, who's the one person who has been trying to take some space at this top lane, gets ganked a second time up here. He is the poorest core of the game. And it's not by that much either, because Maureen is right next to him.
Just no way to get these lanes out right now. This is the biggest strength of Invoker, is when you get ahead in the early game and you can just run between the two side lanes, cover the whole map. He's one of the fastest heroes at doing it while also providing basically infinite kill threat with the Cold Snap Vessel early game. It's a nightmare to get these side lanes out, and we're seeing it. Especially since you're still looking for the Blink on the Tiny. You're still looking for something on this Earthshaker. I mean, you got to get this Blink up on Maureen and make some kind of smoke play with it to get this Invoker or the Veno off the map to free up the space. Because your map is just crumbling right now.
Now, there's, I'm sure, plenty of people watching this game who also watched the Falcons' initial game against Spirit and saw how Falcons, with a lineup that was designed to take over lanes and push early, did get a very big lead, but it did not result in a victory in the end. Are we looking at a similar scenario here? Are Falcons capable of being able to come back against this kind of deficit? Is they're going to lose their carry again?
In theory, their lineup can with the spell power, but the big question is the items are going to be an issue. Because Gaimin, they're going to start building up the ores, right? You get Mech and Pipe in this kind of lineup, and your comeback potential on the side of Falcons is something like a massive Echo Slam, something like a big Gyro team fight. Yeah, that gets negated a lot. That's the big concern. You're kind of racing against the clock here in terms of these auras coming out, and Chen is the king of damage prevention. If there's one hero in Dota that's going to make you tanky enough to survive big AoE spells, it is the Chen. Yeah. Now, I mean, this is a tempting Echo Slam right here if you had it. Are we ever going to see it? That's a big question here, is that Pipe. This Pipe is done for Ace. That is a huge item this game. A lot of the early spell damage from this Falcons lineup is spell damage. It's just going to get heavily negated here.
Now, it is very all-in, right? The fact that you went for an Aura offlaner and a Chen. So you took...
Jump.
Oh, the jump back. No, the Hurricane! It denies the toss away into the rest of the team. What a beautiful move by Celery. A great block, though. Fisher block comes in from the other side. But the damage, in some ways, is already done. They've lost their opportunity to quickly kill Ace. And now the longer team fight. Falcons are going to be loath to chase after this into all the Veno wards, potential Wukong's command, and rotations from Gaimin Gladiators. So they're just going to have to call it here. Slowly back out, take what neutrals they can out of the situation. Seems like they're hoping that Gaimin Gladiators will give them another pick opportunity. But this high ground ward setup, they realize they're spotted. They're still going to try and go for it. Another opportunity, get the toss back onto Ace this time around, and now they get the blow up on it. He gets some damage out. The Wukong's command does go through and hits a nice three-man stun, killing Maureen, getting the damage onto Snaking, and now with Dyrachio coming in through the backside. Looks like both supports' lives are forfeit with no chance at that Echo Slam. Everybody on the retreat now. Skeeter and Amar trying to make a break for it. Skeeter knows he's caught. They're going to try and buy back and play for this one. Skeeter, he's fighting for his life. Amar is trying to double down on this one by taking the damage away from Dyrachio. He gives enough space with the buyback from the Earthshaker, even though he doesn't have Blink, even though he didn't have a TP or didn't use a TP.
I just had to walk out from base to watch his own buyback timer tick down, I guess. Kind of a forced play from Crit, and Falcons not really seeing the angles in these fights outside of the tossback, which is exactly what you want. Your isolated hero, let the Razor and the Gyro go to work. You still end up being stuck in a bunch of Plague Wards, an EMP, a Wukong's command, and of course Dyrachio, he was farming Ancients. I mean, he just has the easiest team fight of his life. Walks over, cleans up both supports, and gets a wicked kill streak.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Midas already up for Quinn as well, so the scale's going to continue to compound here. The Pipe flown in for the Venomancer. I mean, this is on top of Greaves. Ace is just gigantic.
Yeah, what do you do as a Chen if you've got an offlaner that's already got all of the
Another
aura?
nice toss. I mean, this is exactly what you have to do in this game. Keep playing around the tiny tosses, pull heroes out of the game and ball, slow this game down. Right, the Gaimin lineup is strong, but they're strong as 5 together. This Tiny can break that ball up. He can isolate heroes, and then if you can manage to get to the counter initiation here with the Shaker, the team fight, it becomes doable. Because all of a sudden you can force Gaimin to chase into you, which is where Crit can really turn the tide of this game. And Roshan still not claimed here on the side of Gaimin. They've opted to just play more aggressive on the map, take the space away, get extra kills, can't blame them. It is way more efficient than the Roshan. But you have to be thinking about it soon here, not for the first Roshan, but so you can get the second or third going for when you potentially want to go high ground early in this game. Shard should be done for Crit here. He's getting a little extra GPM off the Kobold. He would hate to die right now.
And well, he may hate it, but it's going to happen either way.
It's a very sad death. Not only is he 100 off the Shard, that's his dieback here, so he's going to be off the map for 60. Well, maybe he can get it off the Tormentor.
Yeah, that is true. If he gets it off the Tormentor, which
there
he
you go.
does, now that gold that he has in the bank can be saved for a Blink Dagger.
He's smiling again.
Yeah, he's
I saw a
happy
smile
boy.
on the cam.
Sure. Yeah,
What is he, 0 he's only like 0 and 7,
is
right?
going great. He's having a great time.
This is an average Shaker game.
Shaker game 2024. Duraccio take the time. He's like, okay, they're doing Tormentor. I can do objectives too. He'll do an early Roshan. And from there, see what they... That was a series. That was not a rhetorical question, by the way, earlier. What do you do as a Chen if your offlaner has already all the big aura items?
You buy the small aura items.
Okay, so what's next? He's got boots of bearing. Where do you keep going around?
Assault Kuros? Crimson Guard? I don't know. Whatever you want, right?
I mean, I guess that's my point, is I do feel like there is...
I mean, the Shard...
all in to a point that it does feel like, well, okay, what does the Chen do next?
I mean, this hero can scale. Like, Shard, you get some Ancient Creeps. They're pretty nice. You don't want to buy Ags. You might be able to get it later. I don't know. There isn't really anything great, but you can just buy...
Okay, and that's my point, right?
Lotus Orb, you know...
Your strategy is at a peak right now, right? In some ways, you have hit your double auras for your offlaner. You have an aura item, double auras from the Chen as well. Like, you can keep growing, but like, relative strength, you are so damn big, and it's time to potentially end the game right here, like true Gaimin Gladiators style, but Falcons got a really good setup. You've got to beware of the repositioning power of the Tiny when you go for this high ground. And on second life, is Duraccio going to be able to strong enough to fight under tier 4s, or can he get out? A deafening blast to try and push away the Gyrocopter does create some space, but Malrain gets his hands onto the Chaos Knight, tossing him back once again. Duraccio's going to get burned out. They've lost that hero. Now Gaimin Gladiators, maybe just like Falcons in their experience, trying to go early high ground, may find that their lead, their build-up that they took all this time and energy to build up into, may start getting chipped away.
That was a costly push. That was just not a well-executed push, because the one thing you're thinking about when you're going high ground here at Gaimin is don't let the Tiny get the toss back.
Yes.
That's it. And you have some mechanisms to prevent that. You have Plague Wards, you have Chen Creeps, you're
a Chaos Knight, you have illusions.
You have illusions, you have a near instant boundless strike from the Monkey that can potentially hit the Tiny when he goes in if you see him going off a Venom Ward or something.
Yeah.
Like, that is the one thing you should prevent. Even in a scenario where you feel like you can't prevent that because maybe they smoke, you could let the creeps, the illusions, and the wards siege the tower, right?
Yep.
You don't have to be hitting that if you're Duraccio. It's not that much faster. I feel like that is not what you wanted to get out of that Aegis push there, and that should have been a lane if you're Gaimin. Maybe you didn't give up too much, but you're giving Falcons some decent hope right now to make this comeback push.
Would it be too on the nose to say that Gaimin Gladiators, got the toss over the Fisher line too. So Celery's dead, instant echo just to try and clear off this kill, get it quickly and see if they can get out. Disruption. Grit's going to come back in kind of an awkward position. Dyrachyo goes out of his damage drained by Amar. This is not good for Gaimin Gladiators whatsoever, and Malrine keeps on getting these tosses. They're going to lose their carry again. Now, Radabatos underneath Wukong's command. Amar might die, but he's happy with the exchange, man. He got the kill on the enemy carry. Malrine tossed his carry in. Is this a position that Skeeter actually wants to be in? Tofu still trying to fight it out underneath the Wukong's command, but it's a support Wukong's command. It can only do so much, particularly without the threat of his carry. Malrine still looking for more. Ultimately, we'll just have to accept 3 kills and maybe a tower.
And this is why something like that bottom push is not something you want to give up in games like this with a push strat, because the second it goes wrong, it goes really wrong. Falcons, they just got 5 or 6K gold out of this entire sequence. They got the blink done for the Shaker, who you got to remember already had the shard off the Tormentor. So Crit is fully online now, level 12. He has max Aftershock. He has bonus from the Tectonic buildup, and he has a level 2 Echo Slam. This next fight, Shaker's going to be a way bigger threat. And I mean, ATF, he gets this fight win for Falcons right here. Full duration Link on the Chaos Knight, no turnaround. And Malrine, he gets 4 or 5 tosses off. Happy to toss, and Skeeter says, go get him, my friend. Upside for Skeeter in a lot of these engagements as well is you don't have Cleanse or anything going for him to dispel this Venoslow, but he's able to flat cannon hit off the Plague Lords, which is a big deal for this Gyrocopter.
Demonic Cleanse, a little bit of body blocking there. Results in Snaking not landing into the Sunstrike, but it's fine. He would have survived through it anyway.
I mean, Falcons are getting the items they need to play these fights.
Yep.
The Shaker's online, the Cleanse is online, the BKB is there for the Gyrocopter. You get the BKB up for the Razor, you're kind of there, right? Even if you're down 10K, does it matter? And this can be the down period for the Invoker. We talk a lot about Invoker strengths in a game. I feel like it really is that, you know, first 15 when you're snowballing off the Quas-Wex, then you get the Midas, then you kind of hit a valley. You have to push towards that 3rd, 4th item to really get into the late game where you're getting to the level 20, that sort of time period where you're starting to combo people up.
Yeah.
But this sort of period in the game, if Quinn just gets caught by stuns at the start of the fight, it's problematic for Gaimin here. Same with Dyrachyo.
Yeah, I mean, a Valley for an Invoker, I feel like it's a Valley for a lot of their lineup.
Yeah, they need the next set of big items here. Like, you're looking at more damage on the Monkey. BKB for the Invoker would be big. That heart for Dyrachyo that he was trying to build up to got delayed, so now he just went back for BKB of his own to maybe help with the toss-in. Shivas for Ace would let him frontline a lot more, and you're trying to gear all this up towards that next Roshan in 4 or 5 minutes here. But that is a BKB done for Malrine as he disassembles the Echo. So you have a lot of defensive capability now, and triple BKB is going to be done here for Falcons in the next 4 or 5 minutes or so. Maybe even, probably even less actually, 2 or 3 for ATF. What do you do versus that in terms of that exact team fight for Gaimin? If Falcons present a triple BKB timing with Mech Cleanse behind them and the Shaker Blink going into that next Roche, that fight is not out of the question, and that is a must-win fight if you're Gaimin Gladiators here. You have a lot of auras that are geared up to take advantage of that moment in the game. It is not one you can let slip by you.
2 BKBs picked up for Gaimin Gladiators, so they're very likely going to be aggressively looking for something around the map.
Bounty.
But
this game slowed down.
Don't think they're going to find it. Falcons, I'm sure, are in a very comfortable position from where they were 10 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this game has stabilized for them, and it's definitely slowed down overall, which gotta feel like favors them. I mean, they just recovered that game fairly well off the Tiny Blinks. Not out of the hole yet by any means, but this game could have been over by now. BKB will be finished up here by the Invoker, so Gaimin have a lot more aggressive firepower they can commit at the start of the fight. Gleipnir for Tofu, also more setup, and the BKB for the Chaos Knight. So you're going to have to wear through that if you're Falcons and you want to look for that Echo Slam. You're not going to guarantee get it.
I mean, they're looking for a fight, and Amar just finished up his BKB. Now, unfortunately, I think they're going to get information on that, but they're smoking into a triple BKB setup that you said for Falcons is like pretty advantageous.
It's strong.
So
I mean, everybody has it here. It's a question of who gets the stuns off first. So you're really looking for a stun toss back and maybe even fissure that guy in the air. So you just guarantee chain stun him, no BKB action.
Yeah.
You BKB everybody on your team, take that core out.
Drop
That's
the
the type
echo
of-
on him, just keep the
Yeah.
chain stunts going.
Like, you're super happy with that sort of start if you're Falcons. And
On the
Gaimin
right hero, right?
I mean, you'll take any core, I think. You'll even take this Chen. I think Gaimin's MO is just not let the initiation happen. In other words, you have the Veno wards out in a static position. You have Invoker scouting on the front line. This could be an instant jump.
They're going to instantly jump him. Crit. Great reactions there. Smoke breaks. They know he's just around the corner. Instant Blink Echo Slam.
That just felt a little not on guard for Gaimin.
Yeah.
I mean, Invoker, he's your front line. He's the scout. You kind of relaxed a bit on the map, took some defensive position, gave up map control on that smoke to Falcons, but
Especially
you didn't really
when
dodge it.
Roshan could have been up, right?
Yes, this is the biggest window right now. I mean, this is kind of the crux of the game for a lot of these push lines.
I deserve this.
Like, you're guaranteed to get the first Roche, but the second one is your tool to gain a big enough advantage or go high ground to end the game. Falcons controlling this pit right now. I mean, the last Roche was Radiant side, so you're kind of leaning that it's going to be Radiant again. And it will be here. If you can get down here as Gaimin and set up some Plague Wards, set up some Vision before Falcons react, you're really happy, but they are already making the move.
Go through the gate. Without a +1 here, can Gaimin Gladiators with the pre-setup still be able to win this one? Darachu's taking out the Shadow Demon. Tofu inside Wukong's man is going to die. Ace and Quinn. Quinn with his BKB pushing forward, seeing if they can chase down Skeeter. They've got him blocked in. He goes for a TP. It's not going to make it. Falcons. Just a very bold move to try and go through the gate like that. Gaimin Gladiators were very set up for a daytime Roshan, like you said. They're the ones who did it daytime. They probably figure, all right, it's probably going to be daytime. They played to that side of the map, and they are completely rewarded with just a clump from Falcons coming through the gate.
That is the greatest Wukong from a support monkey you're probably ever going to see damage-wise. It did over 7,000 damage there.
Jeez.
Like, what? It's no longer here, but I can assure you, Tofu very happy with his teamfight impact there. That disruption backfired very hard as well.
Oh, did he disrupt the Monkey King?
That is why that sequence went so bad for Falcons, and it kind of forced them to commit a lot of extra spells on the monkey to commit the Gyro BKB early. If you get that disruption off before Wukong, I think you're okay there, but the fact it goes off during that duration is what ends up giving 7,000 extra damage to Gaimin going into that fight. And that'll give him the Radiant Roche here. That is a fight that could have gone either way, but I think it was very dependent on which team set up that area first. And Falcons gambled on this Roche spawning top during that brief nighttime interval. Didn't pan out for them, and then they had to make the move. And it's just a little too late with the monkey scouting. So that second Roche does go to Gaimin here. We'll see this play, but yeah, this is just not what you want in this situation at all. I mean, Crit loses half his HP, and then Tofu, he lives for a while here, right? You have to commit another fissure, another totem here from the Shaker, and by then your BKB's half out from Skeeter, he's half HP. That's an easy teamfight cleanup there.
Did you see it got even worse because one of the disruption illusions got tossed instead of the actual Monkey King?
It really hurt him.
So that he survives through the burst long enough that he gets the Greaves from Ace to help him out, so he lives not just a second longer, but like 3 seconds longer. Oh, man.
Slight mishaps in this game really have cost Falcons some big potential in these team fights. And that'll be the Shiva's done for the Veno. So the front line, it's just fully online for Gaimin now. It's going to make it a lot easier to play around these jump initiators, and we just still haven't seen that big Echo Slam come out once.
Yeah.
Very difficult game for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, you know what? The only way I can get around all of this nonsense is just a Shadow Blade, right? Classic Blink Shadow Blade. If you really need the initiation to make sure it goes off, that's your best combination of items in Dota 2 to make it happen.
Still, I think that was, I'm not going to say that's the biggest window for Falcons to come back in this game, but that was your window to take advantage of that Invoker lull, because now we're going to see this Invoker just start to gear up into this late game, and maybe you could deal with the CK, but this hero is a terrifying force in those 50, 60-minute fights if it goes through it.
Malrine, pretty far out here. And he's got BKB TP, but it is nowhere close enough against the Phantasm damage, man.
Overwhelming with Bloodthorn and just the crits coming through.
Radiant's top
Nasty.
tower has been denied.
I mean, Daracho has had one heck of a game here as both the 1 and 2 for Gaimin, both, I mean, combined 19 and 4 or whatever. Just haven't been slowed down on the map.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
They're gonna siege it again. Now, this did go horribly wrong for them last time, but the Tiny's still dead for 30, so.
Yeah, this time around, Dyrachyo should be safe from any.
You can buy back Maureen here.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna set up for.
Mega
Right?
Echo. The
If they
banner.
get the initiation, the right initiation, he might buy back for it. But as we get closer and closer to him being alive through
Radiant
natural
structures
means,
are fortified.
Team Falcons are just gonna try and stall. Maureen up now. Will Gaimin Gladiators trying to finish off that building?
Tofu, he has BKB.
Oh, Tofu has a great position, and 3 heroes stunned. Dyrachyo goes straight in for the Shadow Demon, trying to catch him. Not quite good enough. Pops the Phantasm, goes for Maureen. Got a toss on the real one. Into the fountain he goes. Dyrachyo almost burned out. Finally does lose his first life, and somehow Falcons haven't lost anybody off of this one. A Fisher set up, a second life, and he tosses. Maureen doesn't get an opportunity to get in there. Didn't have his blink back up, and Quinn covers them with the tornadoes. So Gaimin Gladiators not heavily punished until the toss happens. This time on the Invoker, got him underneath the tier 3 with the chain stuns going out. Quinn is dead. Dyrachyo comes back in and try and deal with the Tiny, but they don't have the extra illusions anymore. Much of their damage is gone. Maureen, you know he's going to be looking for more tosses, but Gaimin Gladiators looks like they're going to be cleaner on the retreat the second go around.
That's just a beautiful catch from Maureen with the TP outside the base. Gaimin were not expecting that move. He did it almost blind as well. Just had a good read of where they were running and insta-pops that Invoker. And again, the chain stun's deadly here. You get tossed into the Shaker chain stun. There's nothing really to save you. There's no bailout here from the side of Gaimin other than you're tanky enough to survive it.
Yeah.
There's just not tanky enough, so.
Pope, can we, yeah, Chen, he skewed it up.
I mean, I told you.
He skewed up a small or
I don't know why you were laughing at me.
Kira.
Yeah, the AC is, that's what you're going to here.
Shadow Demon poison, spots it.
That was the vision.
Good read from Snaking and Maureen together to make that happen.
Quinn, no BKB there, but I think he was gone either way with the link coming through. So another big find off this Tiny toss, the saving grace of this game for Falcons. Showing why this hero has been so contested. Still down 20K, but still does not feel like these team fights are out of the question if they can get the right setup. And double Shadow Blade now. Maybe that is the key to continue to find these openings.
Dire's middle tower
That makes these
is
Venom
under
wards a
attack.
lot less effective. Haste Rune for Maureen, also very strong here to bypass the slows. This is a dangerous go.
Yeah, Maureen was set up for it the entire time, waiting for somebody to show, and it's a perfect person. Dyrachyo tossed back into the link. So all of his damage is being drained away. It's going to be good enough for them, though. Amar gets burned down without being able to kill Dyrachyo. They can't quite do it. Maureen took so much damage in that AoE that they just get blasted. The Sunstrike, Snaking moves out of it just in time, despite getting the drain from the get-go on the enemy carry. Falcons could not stand up to that team fight.
The damage is just overwhelming. You're stuck in that Wukong, you're stuck under the Chen auras, and this CK just goes to work. Alacrity is going to back him up in a lot of these exchanges as well.
Yeah, that's
once again, Tiny, he's gone for 30. It opens up the base here. How much are you willing to give if you're Falcons? Don't even have his buyback this time because he bought out for the Shadow Blade, so you actually just have to take this fight. Without 2 cores?
Giving him at least 1 lane off of this, but they're probably going to be forced into some sort of last-ditch effort to make sure Megas doesn't happen. Maybe they can stall long enough with the Fishers that they can wait for Maureen to get up, but it's going to be a close call, especially with the illusions pushing things down. The tier 3 is lost. The final lane of Barracks is exposed. And Gaimin Gladiators, aware of their advantage that they have, and the upcoming Roshan will spare Falcons the siege for now. They're going to back up, reset, and probably play for Roshan number 3 before they go for the final blow.
Starting to feel like you might need Divine on the gyro here.
Some major damage.
He's going Daedalus, which, I mean, this is a huge damage ramp, but is it enough to win you that fight that can turn this game around? And this monkey, I mean, Tofu has had a
Oh no, they can't
here.
afford any pickoffs. Maureen does have BKB TP. Oh wait, he just let himself get burned out of all of his mana. Well, that's awkward. He will manage to get the blink. Should be fine now. But I mean, I can't believe he just did not pull the trigger on that BKB. He was right to, I guess. Bold move, but I guess you kind of need to save every bit of your resources for that incoming Roshan or that incoming high ground fight. 29,000 net worth lead for Gaimin Gladiators. Their early game strategy has mostly panned out. A slip up on the initial high ground push, but they still had a second window to be able to hit, it seems.
And their scale is no joke this game either. I don't even think on paper they're in theory getting outscaled if the supports continue to find the farm they're finding right now, because this monkey is as good as a carry. Like, Tofu's going Scotty right now. This Chen's about to have an AC. These supports are about to outright click your gyro at this point. Refresher for Amar is pretty nice here. I mean, this can make up a lot of that gap if you can get a really strong double link, double Eye of the Storm going. But to me, it's still the big question. Are we gonna see an Echo Slam in this game? Can you find an Echo Slam in this game?
Yeah, we legitimately have not seen an Echo Slam that hits a hero. At least more than one.
The fight doesn't last long enough. That's the problem. Like,
Yeah.
You can't go in and echo BKB Chaos Knight. It's not good enough. So the fight needs to last long enough that Gaimin's cores get drawn in deep without BKBs up. You can get 2 or 3 of them, plus some illusions, plus some creeps.
Well, time for that Roshan.
Radiant are scattered.
Yeah, support monkey, by the way.
Yeah.
He's not really winning this battle, though.
The Eye of Scotty. I mean, that is some insane farm. I mean, that's kind of what you need to do, I guess, if you're like picking up this Veno 3 and a Chen on the same team.
Yeah,
you kind of want
out.
your 4 position to scale out, right?
I agree. It makes sense here. One of the better heroes for doing it, and he's going to get a refresher shard.
Falcons, they tried to go for a smoke out to the Roshan pit. Don't go there and get there in time, so now they have to play for the next big thing. Next best thing.
I mean,
which is a high ground ward fight to surprise Gaimin Gladiators.
I don't think you want to jump this CK anymore. He's just going to walk in.
Yep,
Yeah, they don't want to jump him.
They don't want to jump
mean,
him, but Skater spotted. They're going to have to take the fight
They want
into
the
the
Invoker.
Chaos Knight. Maureen's
They
going to
got
come
it.
in for bind. Managed to get the toss back onto the Invoker. They still get an initiation that might work for them. Wukong's command is in a great position, though, and Tofu is leading into the Amar Razor, and he just can't stand up to it, man. Duraccio now dealing with Skeeter. Doesn't have an out here. The Fishers get thrown down, but just the Bloodthorn's gonna burn him out, no problem. Maureen spotted for a second, blinks away, TP's out, Sunstrike spotted, he'll die to the creeps. Not even hero damage needed for that one. 3 dead with a high ground push incoming from Gaimin Gladiators. That should be it for game 1, as Gaimin Gladiators, they still got it, man. They still got the strategy that works for you in 2023. You said it's harder to work in 2024, but no less viable.
Gonna force the last buybacks out here. I mean, ATF committed everything to bring this Monkey King down, and the Monkey King ended up trading with him, dealing almost as much damage back. Really just got outscaled here off that strong early game from Gaimin. Took over so much of the map early. Every Roshan in this game, every barracks in this game. And we finally saw an Echo Slam in that fight. I think it did negative damage.
Yeah, it did not help.
And this is the siege that I think they could have done earlier if they really wanted to, right? Just let all the muck go up front end.
The gunk, and then when somebody steps forward, jump that guy. That's exactly what Dyrachyo does. Smallreen put in a nasty spot, and they will finally call the GG on the side of Falcons. The most successful team so far this season, 0-3 in groups, and Quinn popping off. Oh, that man came into this series with something to say. They went 0-2. They were tilted by their match against Heroic. Falcons have been so dominant. They 3-0'd Gaimin Gladiators in the Dream League finals. Falcons have been talking trash to everybody that they have been beating, including Gaimin Gladiators, and you know one man had a memory for it.
There wasn't any all chat this game, I can tell you that much. Whether it's the stage or the early results, this team is now down 0-3 on day one, potentially going 0-4 here if Gaimin can maintain the momentum. A very tough spot for the favorites to be in early on in this group stage, as maybe struggling to figure out what is going on in these laning phases for them. That is the biggest problem. How do you win these lanes? How do you snowball a bit more? Because you're giving up so much map control. Yeah, there's payoffs down the road. Yeah, there's these dreams of an Echo Slam, of an earlier blink on the Tiny, of a Razor who can get to that refresher, but for the amount you're trading on the map to get there is not worth it right now for Falcons. And yeah, Gaimin Gladiators going back tried and true to their aura-based put strats and looking good with it. A little spice on top with this Quinn Invoker who, I mean, he just had a beautiful game from the get-go. First blood pushed him over the edge of the lane, and then the biggest thing is he shut down the Tiny's momentum. This is a hero we've seen dominating the group phases so far. He was constantly tornado EMPing this Tiny, running out of mana. There was no resources for Malrine to play on the map. Very tough.
Yep, it was a tough game for Falcons, and they're in a bad position for the groups, but Gaimin Gladiators bouncing back after their rough series against Heroic.
Not only the rough series earlier, but also a questionable draft, or so we thought. We weren't sure how this offlane was going to go. The Veno as well as the Monkey King in post 3 and 4 respectively ended up doing quite a lot. Obviously coming out of lanes, a lot of space being created for them by the other cores as well. But yeah, they're the shenanigans that needed to happen to make the success work.
Yeah, I mean, they just cut the wave at level 1, and then after that, they went to the big camp and farmed with the new facet on the Veno. It was pretty cool, but you still free farmed on the gyrocopter.
To do extra damage when you are close up to somebody when you are Shadow Realm. So, you know, Crit just saying that, like, yeah, you can't use the Bedlam anymore the same way you used to be able to, but there are still ways to be able to play Dark Willow, and maybe those ways are utilizing the other facet and just getting in there with maybe a Blink Dagger.
Is Dyrachyo already going to die?
Dyrachyo is on the run, but I think he's fine.
Yeah, he's going to gate.
He's going to.
What is happening?
I don't know.
It's about to rebut your facet this
Oh, the entire team is up the high ground. They have jumped onto Skeeter, and it looks like Gaimin Gladiators are going to be gifted with a first blood once again. Dyrachyo outmaneuvers Falcons, and they end up stumbling into a 4-man high ground gank from Gaimin Gladiators, getting the first blood. Dyrachyo, are we sticking around here? Is he just going to leave one of his webs behind for the... we're seeing this nowadays. This is what all the brood mothers are doing. They take the necrotic webs and they leave at least one web in one of the other lanes, just to have that passive effect of that 15% enemy regen reduction.
which is super nice versus an IO lane.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
IO is all about the passive regen just building up and winning you that lane. So another very nice start for Gaimin. They get the first blood on Quinn yet again for the second game in a row. They get a little extra lane shenanigans, and they also get that OBS D-ward. So a lot of XP advantage going straight in these lanes before the game starts. I think the runes got split as well, so they're very happy with how these lanes are starting once again, and that's going to be their MO once more. Like, they like this Brood carry for what it does in the laning phase and how fast it can pick up the damage ramp. It can start fighting very early in the game. You can just plow through the objectives again. It's another fighting carry for Dyrachyo that they like to play around. But I will say, for me, it's been a little hit or miss. Like, some games it's looked really good, you run the game over. In some games, it's just fallen really flat. If you die once or twice in those team fights, it doesn't feel like you can get to the ultra late where maybe the hero can shine again.
Yeah.
And IO Gyro is definitely, it's a lot of power. This is still a combination that's going to scale really nicely, a combination that can fight even when the gyro just has, you know, the Ags, Crystallis, or whatever. So you also have Slaughter Amp on top of that. It's not necessarily the easiest game for Dyrachyo to take super early skirmishes or something like that and come in and be like, oh, I'm going to come in and poke a support down, join a casual fight. You get amped, you get run down, you're just going. And that's going to kill a lot of your momentum. So the fact Quinn got a good start here, a good sign for them, and maybe looking towards this Pango to really control the early fights where and when they happen and how they happen for Gaimin as they try and build another early lead.
And we'll see. We heard the panel also talking about how this matchup goes down between the Tiny and Pango and how that's changed. And First Blood will obviously sway things even further into the camp of the Pango. Celery, he's going to get bashed up here, and it looks like Amar and Crit will be able to get the kill. Dyrachyo can still battle it out. Both these heroes are pretty low, but maybe he can't take the 1v2. With no incapacitating bind, he's just going to chill. And they'll just have to accept the loss of their support. Any sort of Slardar melee versus melee matchup is going to be, I think, a bit rough. And Amar is obviously going to be one of the better players, one of the better offlaners in this tournament, take advantage of advantageous offlane versus carry matchups. It's kind of what he's known for. Snaking going to get run down at the top lane. So both side lanes trading out their supports at this point as aggression comes out from the off lane to get these kills.
That's a nice kill. The lane pushing in and you get the kill. He's super happy about where his equilibrium is. Gonna get the levels into the tower. The regen's gonna fly out. He'll get boosted back up to full here.
No threat of the support getting any pulls while the lane is pushed in or anything like that. So
that lane's going nice for Gaimin. I'm surprised that Falcons were able to find that kill on Celery down here because this is a tough early lane for Amar. He's going up against attack speed slows in the Jakiro and the mischance from the incapacitating bite, plus some regen reduction. It's a lot of early spell power for this Slardar to fight through and get the bashes in. We saw him waiting out that attack speed slow earlier. Ace very low, flak hits.
Not quite enough damage. Tofu using the cookie, can't quite finish off Skeeter. But both the off lane duo from Gaimin Gladiators back off and pop their healing salve. Do you still like Jakiro's, being picked up here and there? And everybody keeps on going this Liquid Frost. So not fully focused on the attack speed slow Skeeter. Ace wants to be able to commit for that kill, but it's dangerous against the Gyrocopter with all that extra movement speed and damage that he gets with the heals coming out from the IO. That healing salve left up the entire time allows Skeeter to stay alive. Well played by Snaking Skeeter.
I mean, Afterburner plus Tether move speed.
Yeah.
That's why his combo's just so insane. And get isolated on that side. First, the Mirage. You are not out-trading that.
No, you're
this
not.
Is a deep dive.
Getting traded out, though. Quinn gets a kill on Maureen while staying completely full HP. I mean, he is dominating this matchup now. 30-7.
Yeah, this is a clinic right now. There's no other way to describe it. The CS is one thing, but he's like 1,200 ahead on the net worth after that kill. The First Blood contributed to that as well. So Quinn has absolutely just run away with this lane. This is a problem for Falcons. This is another game where the Pango can kind of control the Tiny's momentum, particularly with power runes or rotations or the early fights. And you have this kind of lead. I mean, every metric is going his way right now, and he's going to continue to escalate. This is not a player you want to give this kind of early start to because, in my opinion, this is his strength as a player. It is the snowball effect, right? He starts to build a lead off the lane, and then he wants to take over the map with that advantage. So dangerous situation Falcons find them in as Quinn is off to an insane start here. Can either continue to try and abuse that 1v1 or maybe look for the rotation. See if he gets the power rune here as well. 6 minutes coming out. And it will be invisible for the Pango. They're probably not what he was hoping for, but
yeah, not really a great power rune to use early on.
Get that surprise rolling thunder,
Yeah, maybe.
I still wouldn't be surprised to see him rotate to one of these side lanes, though, and instant TP, yeah.
Yeah, they're a little bit far forward at this top lane, and Tofu was cutting in from the side.
He canceled.
So they thought they had an opportunity, but they recognized, or maybe it was Falcons who stopped it. Either way, A rotation doesn't come through, and it probably wouldn't have resulted in much. Falcons are already backpedaling pretty quickly.
He's gonna maybe make that move top again, though. It's gonna get scouted by the ward. Kind of an awkward situation for Quinn. I think if he makes that TP 10 seconds earlier, it works based on where the lane was. But they were just naturally gonna back anyway. And now the obs comes out mid from crit, so any further Pango movement's gonna get scouted. This might just kill some of the early rotation power until maybe 8 or 10 minute power rune. But still, he's not too sad because he's just out farming this tiny mid.
Yeah. He's not too sad, but it would have been a huge boon to Ace.
Yes.
Yeah, he really wants to be able to get to that level 6, and he is quite shy from that right now.
Because this is the hardest lane in the game right now. Ace has really struggled. And we saw it the earlier trade, but he just can't stand the firepower and the extra regen.
Missing out. Can't hit the cookie stun. The Rolling Thunder is coming a long ways away.
Invisible ball.
He will eventually catch up here to slow down some of these heroes. And Falcons have given up this. They are not going to try and TP rotate despite the, pretty long projected time there before the ball actually hits. They just say, we're not going to fight into this Pango. They give up Skeeter. And that's a kill worth over 500 gold for Gaimin Gladiators. Tofu going to use this bit of space to go through the gate and try and help out the safe lane now for Dyrachyo. As he is also very close to level 6. I would say both these side laners, the fast level 6 could result in a very different outcome.
And just more wards.
They just say, we're not going to fight into this Pango. They give up Skeeter. And that's a kill worth over 500 gold for Gaimin Gladiators. Tofu going to use this bit of space to go through the gate and try and help out the safe lane now for Dyrachyo. As he is also very close to level 6. I would say both these side laners, the fast level 6 could result in a very different outcome.
And just more wards going down to try and scout this Pango's movement, because I think Falcons know how strong he is on the map right now. You're not killing the Pango with the early treads build-up and all these power runes. So if you can get another Arcane Rolling Thunder here, that is what Gaimin are looking for to really blow this game open. And if you're Falcons, like you said, you don't want to overextend, so you feel like you have to rotate into this Pango where your heroes just don't fight him that well. You'd love to have an amp here. It's not online yet, as they're going to try and chase him down.
It might run out of damage. Meanwhile, he's doing a little loop-de-loop around his tower. A blood grenade ticking down on Dyrachyo, but he's okay. Had enough stick charges, baited in the 2 offlaners from Falcons into his support rotation of Tofu and Celery. They come in, clean up both of them.
As Brood's just so tanky with the mischance, man. This is what I was saying. This lane for Slardar is not fun at all, particularly when you don't have that amp up. You're trying to fight through bite. You're trying to fight through the extra regen here, the attack speed slows. Just miserable situation for ATF and Quinn. I mean, yeah, he doesn't rotate bottom, but he takes half your tier 1.
Yeah, he says, okay, you're going to lay out all these wards and do all this scouting for me and stop my rotations, then that's fine. I will just continue to dominate the mid lane.
It's another early game that there's some problems on the map right now for Falcons, though that top lane went very well for them. This IO Gyro is powered up. So if they can use Skeeter's levels, ult already online for this Gyro, and keep him alive and fight through him, they're going to be happy. But that's the big question. Can you find those sorts of engagements? Can you dodge this Pangolier? They're going to do a nice job dodging the smoke gank, looking for their own move. This would be a beautiful sequence for them if they can land the connection on the Brood. Half HP, under half HP for Dyrachyo.
Oh, it's going to be perfect! They run right into him, not even requiring much past Skeeter and Stakey. Just the hit from Maureen was going to be enough, but you're right. Get a bunch of spider kills as well, so there's nothing Dyrachyo can farm while he's dead, and Gaimin Gladiators come through the portal.
I mean, this is as good as it gets for Falcons. You get the rotation, kill the enemy carry, dodge the gank on your carry, and get the 10-minute power rune, which is a DD. Super good sequence for them. Just read that play.
If they don't get caught by this play.
You don't get caught.
Dyrachyo looks to slow him down. The Rolling Thunder behind it. Staking going for the relocate out. And he'll get there.
Oh, he almost got bumped out of that.
He was close.
Watch the range there.
Now, Skeeter is going to TP out to the tower. And they're going to see if they can get the tether to get him away. But he's going to come back into an ice path. He'll probably be bursted. As Swashbuckle, easily lets him bunch back up.
Hey, mid-tower. Tiny just takes it for free.
Oh, wow.
No contest here. I mean, another move, that amp damage rune doing some work. I don't think Falcons are too sad about that. I think they'll happily trade
Are scanning.
the king for a tower. Get a bunch more rotations out to this bottom lane as well. And again, Ace's game, you're giving him some recovery, but his game was really slow. Perhaps the slowest of everybody's. He went and earned here. Not going to be some ultra fast Radiance rush. So he's going to look to fight with this earn. Probably Vessel build up to deal with some of the healing. But then you have to find him the charges, so you're going to have to get this brew active at some point early in this game. Everything signals Gaimin want to fight very early here.
Echo Saber almost done for Quinn. See if that gets delayed at all. If they have the damage, caught him inside the bramble, and they caught him midway through his double jump there. He's going to try and get the Rolling Thunder, and it looks like he just has too much HP. This is the problem with the Pango right now. He didn't even get off the extra shield, and he was still tanking enough to survive because he's got 1,500 HP off of the Treads build.
I mean, that is the Dark Willow change. You have old Bedlam.
True.
He's absolutely gone.
Big pickup on Amar, though. A lot expended for it, but Macropyre and Mortimer kisses, but we want to make sure that Amar doesn't get to keep farming. Gaimin Gladiators, certainly in this series, it seems like they're putting in significant effort to make sure Amar doesn't get too many minutes to free farm at a time. You know, feels like every 3 or 4 minutes they do a quick Amar check. Ice Path does land. Stopping the TP away from Crit underneath the Shadow Realm, and with this kind of rotation, they should be able to even out that mid tower. But Falcons are hitting bottom lane. They could TP to defend on the side of Gaimin Gladiators. See that most of their TPs were available.
Blink arrives for the Tiny. You'd really like to smoke him right now. Just not in position on the map, missing some resources as well. And Dyrachyo able to hold this bottom tower on his own while you claim that tier 1 mid. You get earn charges for the brew, a TP cancel on the Willow, so now Crit has to walk out from base. A very, very slow period here for Falcons, as really only the IO Gyro are finding what they want.
If Gaimin Gladiators is fast enough here, 14-minute Wisdom Rune is coming up.
Oh, they want to fight for this bottom tier 1 because the Brood's pushing it in right now.
Yep.
But he's going to get jumped first.
Oh, and he gets tossed straight into the Rocket Barrage from Skeeter. Once again, Malarine proving to be extremely adept at finding these toss-back initiations. It's been the one saving grace for Falcons this series.
Yeah, easily a fight that could have gone the other way if Gaimin were there a little faster.
Tofu, really good save there with the cookie, stopping another toss-back. A relocate attempted by Snaking, but Quinn swerves in the way of the drive-by save from Snaking. Stops that relocate out, but they're not strong enough to actually take the fight into Malarine, it seems, so at least not yet. Ace is thinking about popping his ultimate, though, and they're going to take this full-on fight. A cookie goes out, hitting onto Amar, with the Pango putting himself in the front lines. Look at Crit going in for the kill, though. Managed to get the kill on Jakiro. Now going to try and clean up Tofu as well, but gets shot down while the cores chase down the rest of Falcons. It looks like Skeeter's going to go for a desperate TP away, but it is desperate because it will never happen. The damage way too much from Gaimin Gladiators, and a stun was available from Ace. A 1-for-4 exchange.
All right, that Brule got massacred, but it didn't matter. It gave enough time for the Pango to come back in the fight, and all of a sudden you get another shield crash off, another swashbuckle, the Brood starting to power up, and the cores from Gaimin able to turn that around. They committed a lot on that Tiny at the start, but they still had a lot left in the tank. These Echo hits, I just feel like Amar can't find his impact in this game.
Yeah.
There's so many annoying spells for the starter to deal with. It's just not there. If that reload goes off, maybe it's a very different story, but your Tiny's caught in an awkward position. You don't know if you want to commit. Tether gets broken. You have to wait for another one. You still don't have the IO mech. Everything is just a little too slow here for Falcons.
I think this combination of, one, you're fighting at a Gaimin Gladiators, and probably one of their fortes, right? The 10 to 15 minute window where they're exceptionally good at taking a lead from the laning phase and then taking over the game. That's their MO all the time. And you're fighting into the mid Pango, who is strongest right in this period of time.
Oh, you cannot let him get away here.
Trying to go up for a pickoff. Now they're not going to let him get away. They do manage to finally catch and corral him. But it does get them a tower as well. So not too bad, actually, for Falcons. Heavy rotation, but a kill, a tower, and a relocate back to another position on the map.
Trying to get this Slardar blink up. Would help their playmaking a lot. As the mech arrives, but the vessel can't heal through it here.
Absolutely fearless. They know how powerful this Pangolier is. Diving into tier 2s like it's no thing, and Mortimer's Kiss is on top of it. Will deliver the damage to finish off the Gyrocopter, and now go in for more of an advantage. Another swashbuckle hit on Malrine, bringing him quite low. Ace goes in a bit deep, though,
yes,
and Amar's going to go for the punish. The shot's coming in onto the crit Dark Willow. He'll die. Ace managed to get off his ultimate, so Amar couldn't finish off that kill. Again, Amar struggling to find his place in these fights that are happening in a position where Falcons, you would think you'd be able to take a fight under your tier 2, surely, but it's still not enough.
I mean, the IO going down first just kills you there because all of your sustain, a lot of the extra firepower for the gyro, and the vessel. You didn't even get the mech off here, didn't want to use it into the anti-healing. It's just already a bad start for Falcons, and Tofu he's putting in work these fights. I mean, this is a great Kisses. He already has Atos up. This Snapfire 7-1, by the way, absolutely unstoppable. As the ult came up towards the end, but I don't think Ace was going down anyway.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, with this miss percentage chance against the Slardar, it's tough for the Slardar to deliver the
that's what I'm saying. Like,
blow.
All these little things, Amar just can't get something done.
Yep.
You can't hit the Brew miss chance, can't hit the Brew miss chance, can't hit the Jakiro attack speed slow, can't hit the Pango because, I mean, it's a Pango, he's just rolling through you.
Yeah.
You don't even see the Snapfire. I mean,
Well,
who are you supposed to go on?
Now he's got a Blink Dagger, so now maybe he can go for those backline heroes that it seems like it's the only heroes that he can maybe have a chance at killing is the supports on Gaimin Gladiators.
Yeah, you want to find the Snap and Jakiro. Take their spells out of the fight would really help your IO Gyro and your Tiny going in. Also, just got to keep looking for these tossbacks. I mean, that feels like the only thing that's been working for him this series.
Oh, hit him on the relocate in. Quinn stopping a bit of the initiation, and now they just have to push to one side here. They're going to go for, Crit's already dead. Amar is forced to blink backwards here. Falcons, in an attempt of a sandwich, find themselves that one wing or the other is not strong enough to collapse onto Gaimin Gladiators. Gaimin Gladiators and their team fights just seems to be overwhelming at this point in time. Falcons have no chance at taking it. Again, the backup of the Kisses just ensures that the aggression of the Pango will pay off.
And Falcons are getting sucked into these fights. They're not applying pressure on the side lanes, don't feel like they can get it out fast enough. That is a route you can go with the IO Gyro pair. Just play more of the split push game, try and force Gaimin to split the ball, and then maybe find a pickoff with your 2 blink stunners. But if you're going to take these fights with everybody on the reload in and then lose them and then lose objectives, this game is going to get out of control for Gaimin very fast.
Crowd getting into it. You're going to hear a lot of Falcons chants throughout this tournament, I'm sure, but it has not improved their position in the groups as it has gotten worse and worse over time. It could be at the very worst the end of this game. 7,000 net worth lead for Gaimin Gladiators. More pickoffs as Snake King's gonna get run down. Quinn is godlike. You saw the way he popped off after game 1. You know that that man feeds off of the hate that he gets from other players and the crowd. And having a crowd cheer for Team Falcons, I'm sure only motivates him more to pop off when needed.
I mean, this man might already be thinking about what he's going to do after this game right now. The way he's cruising. Because they're going to be building some auras up here. And again, this is a lineup that can take an early Roshan and go high ground early based off the pipe on the Brew. This is a lot of HP to fight through for a Falcons lineup that has decent single target burst damage, but not a lot of sustained team fight. There's a lot of spider. 100 spiders on his Tiny? Is that accurate? I guess it is. Well, smoke from Falcons. Try and get some initiation off these blinks. Or maybe bait somebody out. But the bait is not going to work here because Gaimin have bigger prey in their mind.
Yeah, they're not looking for the little fish of Falcons. They're looking for the big old whale that's in the bottom right part of the map. They need to take Roshan, take the Aegis.
A great comeback fight if you can get here in time on the side of Falcons.
If they can get here in time, and they're close.
Very,
They're
very
almost
close.
there in time.
You
The
have to
Bottom
go.
just win. He might be able to intercept it, but no, the Aegis picked up in time, and the Rolling Thunder goes off. Now, they've already killed the big team fighter in the Brewmaster, but they are also fighting into a Rolling Thunder, so they have to be cautious. And
Nice
that
exit.
caution results in everybody else from Gaimin Gladiators being able to TP out.
That was a very clean exit from Gaimin.
Dire's bottom tower
Recognizing
is under attack.
Brewmaster's gone instantly, just not a fight we want to take, maybe a one we need to take. And that was a very close jump from Malrine. He almost got an Aegis snatch there. Would have been huge for this game.
Radiant's top tower is
I think
under
he
attack.
hesitated outside that pit just a little, maybe half a second. That's all it took. And now this Brood will get to his BKB here. So you're gonna have 2 lives on the Pangolier, who's gonna frontline for you, a pipe on the Brewmaster, and a BKB on this Brood. No easy targets to fight into anymore.
It feels like a bit of deja vu, where Falcons are going to be left against a fighting force that is far superior, just through net worth and items, that they're going to have to go for the pickoffs. I think Malrine is going to have to step up again and give them multiple opportunities where they're able to isolate one person and kill him.
Just gotta split the map. Again, you can do it with the IO gyro. It's not impossible. And we've seen, you know, this core of going back to Tundra. They know how to play these side lanes with things like the Naga Siren, right? We know Skeeter knows how to control the waves at a position where you can set those pickoffs up. This is definitely a situation where we're gonna have to pull out those skills and prolong this game, because the push is gonna come. And you need to get the most out of the map when this 5-man happens from Gaimin, as we're seeing here, so that you stall this high ground, get something, and then when you take the fight, you can make that comeback. If you're Gaimin, do not give them the easy tossbacks that you did in that game 1. That's how this high ground can go bad for you. Toss back with the chain stun.
Where is Dyrachyo?
He's not getting tossed this time.
Don't let him get tossed. Instead, it's going to be Ace. Is Ace taking enough to survive? With the Bedlam, they don't have the stuns. He easily gets off his ultimate, and it's Malrine's life who was sacrificed. Gaimin Gladiators, they took that game 1, that little bit of a speed bump, they learned from it. They got better at executing their strategy. Quinn might lose his Aegis, though, diving into tier 4s like that. Not quite. The heals come through, and he's okay. Rolling Thunder was used. Dyrachyo's looking to clean up these buildings. A buyback from Malrine. Gaimin Gladiators. They're gonna get caught here. Amar goes in, trying to stop the kisses. Malrine teeping into a nasty situation. They need to save the Terrorize, but it's not good enough. Dyrachyo got off his BKB and got a dieback claim onto Malrine.
Lane gone, and do they even have to stop here? Yeah, you're missing the Brew ult. Yeah, you're missing your Brood BKB, but no Tiny for 60?
A crush on 3. Damage behind it from the flat cannon is enough to kill the Jakiro. But can they finish off the rest of the cores? Ace is trying to back away. Bango still fighting it out. Looks like this is actually turning around, man. That damage from the flat cannon shots, and now Quinn's gonna come back in trying to swashbuckle away, but Yule's into a blink stun soon from Amar. Will set up Skeeter to clean up more. A triple kill. Gaimin Gladiators completely overextending and staying in the enemy base for far too long.
6,000 damage out from Skeeter. He is the damage on this lineup. The barrages and getting the Slardar amps, but huge crushes from ATF there. Really solidifying that second lane push. I was questioning how strong you are there. With no Brewmaster ulti, with no Brew BKB, can you take a prolonged engagement there? Because that's what really wins you this first fight on the first lane of racks. Like, yeah, you go on the Brewmaster. I don't think that's the target you want as Falcons, because I don't think you're ever killing him without chaining the stun on into a Terrorize or something. You would much prefer one of the other targets and then being able to re-engage. It cost Malrine his life twice here, but a huge 3-man crush out of Amar, and he's amping everybody off with that shard.
Yeah, exactly.
Have to respect the shard.
Found the Brood again. Time where they picked off Dyrachyo.
This game
huge momentum all of a sudden. Seller's just gonna run down so easily with an amp damage on a Skeeter. He doesn't need the corrosive haze to do big damage anymore. All of a sudden, they're gonna take a tier 2? How much more can they take in this 30 seconds?
I mean, where was the discipline on the map from Gaimin in the last 5 minutes here? Overexcited Pushed it too far, not waiting for the timings, not waiting for the ults, and now giving up another bad brood death, just running down mid lane. Falcons are suddenly the ones hitting the base. And this Gyro, he is the big bad man on the map right now. And this is not the hero you wanted to let power up for Falcons, because their whole lineup is designed around buffing this Gyro.
Yep.
You have IL Gyro, you have the Slardar amp, you have Tiny Toss to bring heroes in close. Quick smoke from Gaimin, it gets scanned out here. Even this is not gonna land for them, as they have given up almost 10k gold lead here in the last 5 minutes.
I mean, just a massive difference. Gaimin Gladiators off of a choice to try and go a second lane of barracks without Brewmaster Ultimate and some other spells extended. They lose that fight, then lose a follow-up engagement.
Daedalus.
And a full-out Daedalus. He was thinking about Satanic, but he completes the big damage items. This jump in, if he can hit these kind of corrosive hazes, that Daedalus is going to demolish. Amar does manage to get away from the gank attempt here from Gaimin Gladiators. That could have opened up the high ground.
A massive item for Falcons. When you have this corrosive haze, as you're saying, I mean, this is not a normal Daedalus. You have attack speed to back it up. You have stuns to back it up. You have minus armor to back it up.
And they don't really have that much armor. Celery does have Guardian Greaves, but you know, they don't have a whole lot of other things to be able to cover that corrosive haze plus heavy physical damage.
I mean, it's the evasion in the Brew and the Broodmother, and it's the attack speed slows when the BKB are out.
Well,
that's your best way to deal with the damage.
Is Dota2 going to be able to hit the gyrocopter and put that mischance on him? I guess it's all up to the initiation, which they find onto Maureen. Maureen forced to use BKB. Terrorize does manage to stop Tofu on the side there. Crit tries to push forward and go for that kill on the support. It looks like they might be able to do so while Maureen's still trying to get away from Dota2. Good Glimmer Cape to be able to save him. Meanwhile, Celery, he's going to burn out inside of his own macro pyre. So does Crit under the Mortimer's Kisses. Now Ace, right in the middle of all this one. Skeeter's actually quite low. He doesn't have the Satanic, the Daedalus. The focus on damage may prove to be fatal as he has no recovery here. And the chip damage away from Dota2. Snake King needs to bail him out. And Snake King might have just done that. He saved Maureen. Now we get Skeeter out of there, both of them with a Glimmer Cape. Skeeter tries to heal up a little bit, but hitting those neutrals was not the choice. They had to be able to get out of sight of Gaimin Gladiators. The chase extends. Another Glimmer Cape. Where's the detection? Where's the AoE damage? They're missing off their AoE spells, but he'll finally tick out from the urn. Snake King now tries to get himself out of there with a tether, but he's going to be left behind as Amar blinks back. It eventually works for Gaimin Gladiators, but it extended a lot longer than it should have, thanks to Snake King's Glimmer Capes.
I don't know if that's the right decision, though, in hindsight. I don't think you can abandon this Gyro in the fight.
No.
Like, the second he's alone there, Gaimin turn on him does not have the sustain to back up the Daedalus damage there, and that team fight was just super desynchronized for Falcons. They split the focus. The Slardar was not amping up the targets that the Gyro was going on, and that's the biggest deal there for Gaimin, as their cores just get to run around and have a free-for-all.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, right? The entire lineup is built to build up Gyrocopter.
Yes, you have to stay around him and go on the targets that Skeeter wants to go on here.
Got to maintain that focus. Can't lose sight of your way to win fights. And unfortunately, Maureen getting caught in the river there. Snake King maybe dropped the ball a little bit, panicking, trying to save another ally.
You reload him out and you play the fight slower. It's the fact you save the Tiny and then you go in with the Gyro is the disconnect. Have to play as a unit here. 3 BKBs are up now for the side of
going
Falcons.
back for a power room, but they intercept him. Can they blow him up in time? Half HP with the relocate coming in from Skeeter. They've got the big kill on the Bandolier. Duracio's on top of Snaking, but look at the damage out from this Gyrocopter. This time around it's looking okay, but Duracio's outright stealing the damage as they manage to get the stuns with the BKB worn thin. It means Skeeter is susceptible to all the disables that Gaimin Gladiators have to bring to bear, and they will bring more to chase down Amar as Amar pops his BKB, makes a run for the river, a crush TP out, the damage, it's not good enough. So a trade-off of the Pango for the Gyrocopter. Gaimin Gladiators can't be too sad about that one.
The damage from the Brood is starting to stack up, man, and that should give enough time for Dota2 to finish Butterfly, which is a huge item in this game because you're nowhere close to piercing that evasion between the Elven Tunic, the Bite, and the Butterfly. Good luck man fighting this guy. You need to land those crit hits in between the evasion. That is going to be difficult for the Gyro. They got to buy back out of the IO as well. The initial go, once again, the initial go from Falcons, very good, but over-committing or maybe just stuck in a river position you can't get out of with Ice Paths, Rolling Thunder.
A Butterfly now complete, level 20, just around the corner for Dyrachyo for an extra boost in attack speed. And one thing to know is, like, part of this Broodmother nowadays, a big part of, you know, Broodmother coming in and being more of this right-click killer is the Shard, right? The longer the team fight goes, oftentimes it'll play to the advantage of the Broodmother because you're getting so much extra percent-based damage off of your Shard. 4% every second that you've progressed since popping your Insatiable Hunger. It adds up, man, and you saw it add up. Initially, Dyrachyo's lifesteal was not keeping up. And then, you know, a few seconds later, all of a sudden, he's evening out the Gyrocopter's damage. And then he's overwhelming the Gyrocopter's damage with just raw lifesteal.
You have to kill him at the start. If he gets to play the fight on the last half of that Shard, you're losing one or two heroes to it alone. So you're either jumping the Brood, which he has Aegis now, not easy. You can maybe look for the toss back in the base defense, but I think the Pango is the right target. It's just you have to be very disciplined about it. And Gaimin have been pretty good at covering each other, not giving clear openings. Yeah, maybe you lose a hero on that initial go, but you make Falcons pay the big price.
Yeah.
Crimson now up for ace as well, so
yeah, let's go time. His Crimson and Plate Mail on the Pango.
Are they bursting?
Adds a lot of tankiness. Is he gonna get off? No. Couldn't get off the ultimate, and he does get bursted down. Now, they'll take some supports for it. It looks like maybe just Kratos Snaking was able to get a Force Staff and Glimmer Cape out of it.
For another toss.
Trying to go for it. Oh, Force Staff got him away. Maureen has to pop his BKB in defense. He almost got the +1 there.
Absolutely huge if he could have gotten anybody off that, especially the Brood, since, oh yeah, the Hunger was wearing out. Still not a bad base defense for Falcons as this toss continues to cause them problems. You got the BKB out of the Brood, you got the big Brewmaster. I'm surprised that they were able to chain stun him as well as they were.
Three minutes left on the Aegis. Quinn is reasonably close to AC. I think you may want to complete that. I mean, it's just such a boost to your entire team.
I mean, you're not going to go high ground without Broodmother, BKB, and your Brewmaster. That seems a little too ambitious here.
Yeah, I would imagine so. They may have a bit of a poke. Dyrachyo himself actually goes for it and gets tossed back. Now, Amanta is going to be able to allow him to disjoint some of this, and maybe he's going to go for it. A pull back in, get a Force Staff, pull him away, and actually groups up the heroes perfectly for a crush and a terrorize. They've got the control. They're clumped up like this perfectly for Falcons and take full advantage. And Ice Path a little bit off the mark as Amar is able to slip it away to the side with no Pango. Dyrachyo now has to retreat, but you know Twin Maureen is looking to strike with the Brambles hitting on multiple heroes. He's thinking about it, but he leaves them be.
The crit is decimating them in these high ground defenses. These Cursed Crowns, the Terrorized Chain Stunning, he's giving them so much control to play around where you don't want to pop that BKB off that initial Cursed Crown or something like that. But the second it goes off, you're just stuck in these Brambles, stuck in the Terrorize. Quinn goes down without doing anything in that fight.
Yeah.
You got to remember, that was your Aegis push.
Quinn getting into that fight in the position he ended up in, maybe not the best, but the overall big picture of, like, do you really need to approach that high ground that early? You had plenty of time left on the Aegis. You could have finished up that AC, still had a solid minute and a half window where you have an Aegis. It feels like Gaimin Gladiators a second time in this series where, a second time in this game even, where they have tried to push it too hard too quickly.
I think their cores are capable of taking that fight where they get tossed in. Like, we've seen you toss Dyrachyo, and he's not going to die instantly. He has too much evasion right now. That won't last forever, but I feel as though Gaimin are trying to take advantage of the fact their cores are so strong right now. which may not always be true in this game. If you can get to something like MKB plus Satanic on Skeeter, which I say if you can get there, he already has MKB and he almost has Satanic on this Gyro.
Yeah,
that would be a big turning point in this game.
He also has the level 20 talent.
Big one.
Big +3 flat cannon attacks, which those attacks are worth their weight in gold when you have this minus armor.
Or you cannot give a good toss target.
Smoke's gonna break. They got the toss back onto Ace. Once again, they try and burst down the Brewmaster. This time around, can they do it? They've got him. Without that, they trade out Amar though. Offlaner for offlaner. What happened? Skater just dies without getting off much of anything there. Gets blown up, hit by a rolling thunder, chain stun down. Dyrachyo did full damage. What? Was that a too early BKB pop? I mean, what happened?
The Brood just ate him alive, man. He dealt like almost 2,000 damage in a second within 4 quick hits. He had that shard powering up. He has almost 600 damage when that thing's fully loaded.
Oh yeah, it's intense. You're gonna see him put that damage straight into Maureen. It's like the Tiny doesn't even have bonus armor. Incapacitating bite wears out for Amar's benefit. He forced Ass back in to hit a crush. Skeeter trying to take advantage of this one while the incapacitating bite is on cooldown. They do manage to kill Dyrachyo. Once again, Gaimin Gladiators feeling like they're so strong they could just jam it.
You didn't see him?
Oh, he's hidden away in the trees. Oh, Amar. That would have been such a great cherry on top off of a successful defense. It cost them multiple buybacks. It was a heavy, heavy cost, but a kill on the Pango might have made them feel so much better about it.
I mean, when that Brood doesn't have BKB, you can deal with him through your control, through your stuns. So once more, Gaimin, they give some big core kills to Falcons, but they make them pay with the buybacks. And there is no Roche to claim here, so not a bad time to do that exchange if you want to force it. Biggest question for Falcons now is, can you get to this Gyro Satanic? Feels like you need it at this. I don't even know if it'll save him, honestly, the way the Brood's damage is coming out, but that's your best hope. You do have the Feather for some extra evasion here. You can maybe go back to that, as Dyrachyo doesn't have any Pierce. Solar Crest and Greaves would also help a lot on snaking, but, you know, his game has been rough here.
I mean, at this point, you have Falcons are going to have to start treating this bite as this insatiable hunger, rather, as just as an ultimate.
Yeah, you got to kite it out.
You just got to fully kite it out.
The problem is they haven't been able to disengage. We can see them trying to get the initial pick with the tiny toss and then reset. Just can't get out. They're rolling from the Pango, random things like the Ice Path. You're getting hit by kisses. There's too much to disengage from. I mean, you can just take the pick, insta BKB TP out, but like there's a basher on the Brood. These things aren't guaranteed. And that's not really winning you this game.
Yeah. It almost feels like you gotta get that jump from Maureen. And the Gyrocopter takes advantage of the pick. They get that kill, and they relocate the Gyrocopter out once the Broodmother goes for the Gyro with that insatiable hunger.
There is a pathway there. You also have this high ground ward you're playing on.
Vision may just be just what Falcons need, but they can't keep that vision.
Satanic done.
Going up there. Satanic is done. Skeeter.
Gotta keep him alive.
Can he frontline for it now? Can he create a better opening for Falcons to be able to play with?
See the Brood.
They do manage to jump the Broodmother.
That's an early
BKB out of him. Now Dyrachyo has to commit. He just needs to be able to go for the kill on Amar, but it's giving Skeeter an open line in the back line. He's just getting out full flat cannon shots. Maureen went through BKB TP out though, and it's leaving Skeeter entirely alone as he gets tossed up in the air. Snaking has to tether away to the side. What about the help for Skeeter? Maureen comes back in off his TP away, gets a toss forward, not quite good enough. Skeeter with his BKB has killed the Gyrocopter. Look at the tree, got him. The tree finishes him off, and the flat cannon shots will demolish the rest. Falcons kited out beautifully. Skeeter will now clean up the rest of Gaimin Gladiators, no problem. Once the Brood is gone, the Gyrocopter is the king of the fight.
What a team fight, honestly. The kiting there was absolutely perfect. And 15,000 damage almost from Skeeter here. He gets to hold his BKB for so long, that fight gets to hold Satanic for so long, because so much of the focus is on the Tiny and the Slardar. And I go back to the early BKB on the Brood there. That felt like exactly what they want out of this entire exchange. Get some of the spells out of Dyrachio early, kite him around. Another beautiful Curse Crown into more Brambles, into bashing him on top of a cliff. I mean, somewhere Arteezy's watching and I'm sure he's proud. But ultimately the flak hits coming through get the job done as you ran out of gas. Played your cards too early here, and Falcons, we saw the BKB TP out from the Tiny, he's able to re-engage. We saw the IO tether out, he's able to re-engage. The Relo, you can re-engage. Yep. Stalls this fight out long enough that you can take the backside of it with Skeeter. You're gonna bleed a little tier 4 damage, but that's a Rax, that's another team fight win, and that is a net worth lead in this game. Level 25 now for the Gyro, another Flatkin talent. Relo for Roche.
Relocate straight to Roshan. Omar
Very efficient.
checks out the pit, and they'll do it very, very quickly.
They're gonna contest this.
AC for Amar. Contest, kisses coming in.
Gotta grab everything, get out.
See if they can get everything and still manage to keep it away. Jump forward from Celery, throwing out the ice path, hoping he can stop, but he hears Skeeter's gonna be left behind. But BKB satanic to try and keep him up if he can live long enough, especially with a second life.
There's
but
a
he's gonna get bashed up. So the second life, can anybody in Falcons get here to be able to bail him out?
They're not close.
Oh no. They tried to do too much and left this one. He jumps in from Amar. He's actually full up off of the satanic, but can he keep this going? Dyrachio turns back in, quickly kills the IO. Now turns back in with the Suns coming in, a big avalanche hit. A Terrorize on top of that one. Dyrachio, can he get bailed out of this one? Keelan, he's trying to keep the stuns. He's getting them close, and Skater finally does go down. Ace got off the ultimate, and now the team fights all over. The Gyrocopter is dead, and Falcons, they'll try and just go for whatever kills they can before they fall, but that is a Gyrocopter dead for 2 minutes, a Slardar dead for 2 minutes, and a GG called out from Falcons. Just when you thought they might be able to turn around the game, it all gets thrown away.